What's up, everybody? It's Critical. This is less of a story and more of what I learned today. So I live alone in an apartment complex, and since I live alone, I like to take full advantage of this freedom. So I like to sing loud, I like to talk to myself in weird voices, just really capitalize on being alone. I like to helicopter dick my penis around and just really get out there. Well, not get out there, in fact, quite the opposite. Stay in here and just do all these things that really wouldn't be appropriate in the company of a roommate or someone else. And I've talked about this before. I like to take popular songs and change the words around a little bit to incorporate the word wiener into the songs. For example, Drake's One Dance. I need a one wiener. Got a wiener in my hands. Stuff like that. And I was doing that today with Shaggy's It Wasn't Me hit song in the early 2000s. And I wasn't really changing any of the words around. I was just belting it out, really flexing those pipes, letting it howl. To be a true player, gotta know how to play. If she stay a night, convince her say a day. Never admit to a word when she say. And if she make a claim, you tell her, baby, no way. Stuff like that. And I was doing that going into the closet. And as I was doing this, I heard the girls above me. I heard one of them say to the another girl in the room, "God damn it, he's doing it again." And immediately it made me stop singing, and it just made me stop and think, how much have they heard from me? And I started to reflect on everything. Then I decided, let's just test this out. Let's see how much they can truly hear from me. So I started waiting for them to have a conversation of their own, because sometimes I could hear them when they're being particularly loud. So I was just waiting for this to present itself, and it did. And then I went into the closet, and I just started talking at a pretty normal volume. I wasn't really projecting myself. I wasn't shouting. I was just talking normally, like how I am right now. And I did this as they were having their conversation. They stopped the second I started talking, which means they could hear me, and I interrupted them. That means they could hear pretty much everything that I'm saying. They can hear me right now, actually. That's the impression I got from that. So I decided, let's have a little fun with this. So I ululated a little bit, I'll admit. That probably threw them for a loop. But still, it made me really think about all this. That means they can hear me when I'm making videos and shit like that, which means they've heard me say things like, cum blasted lobster loads and shit like that. That just sounds weird out of context. Did you hear me, ladies? Cum blasted lobster load. And you see, now I know I have this tool at my disposal that I can at any point in time say something that will make them up there question what the fuck is going on down here. And it also makes me a little embarrassed, because now when I'm singing these songs and I'm just belting out these boner jams, I have to wonder what they think of what I'm doing right now. And I'm really not the kind of person that likes to be disruptive or anything like that, so it makes me want to take a step back and just evaluate how loud I'm being, or if they can hear me. So it's just, I don't know, just thought it was worth sharing, and maybe even serve as a lesson to all of you out there that you may not see anyone around, but there may be someone that can hear you or see what you're doing right now. So think twice before you break out that trombone and start playing that shit, because trombone doesn't sound good under any circumstances, so you probably shouldn't play that to begin with. But I don't know, just thought it was something worth sharing. That's it. See ya. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I decided to kick this month off with a story. This actually happened last night, and this is for anyone out there who in the last 24 hours have embarrassed yourself in front of the person you're attracted to, or completely ruined your chances with that person. This is for you, to let you know you're not alone. I'm in the same boat, and we're in this together. So last night, some friends and I decided to go to the bar, and while at the bar, there was a girl I found extremely attractive there, and I'd seen her around quite a few times at this same bar, but never really went up and talked to her. I was too shy for that. But last night I was feeling particularly confident because I had won a stuffed animal from the crane game at the International House of Pancakes, so I wasn't shitting around with the shit-arounds anymore. So I gave my nipple some stimulation, a few circles around them on the areolas, and I decided to buckle down and go up and start a conversation with her. And to my surprise, the conversation was flowing nicely. We went through about 4 or 5 sentences, and I hadn't even spilled my drink on her yet. I didn't even mention the word turbo, so this was going far better than anything I had done in the past, until my friend comes along. My friend's a big Pokemon Go player, and I play too. I have a lot of good Pokemon. I fuck shit up on the Pokemon Go front. And he starts talking about Pokemon Go, and I'm like, fuck, you just sank my battleship. She's not going to want to talk about this. Especially because my friend was doing calf raises and just giddy with excitement, just absolutely jubilant over nothing. He just couldn't sit still. I couldn't understand why he was doing this. It didn't make any sense at all. He had no reason for it. But she actually went along with the conversation. She played Pokemon Go too. She loved it. And my friend was saying how insane my Pokemon were. Because my Pokemon, there's some pretty powerful bitches in that arsenal. I got a lot of 2000 CPs and 1600 CPs. I'm not trying to flex too hard right now, but I got some high CP Pokemon over there. My shit fucks. And he wanted me to show her, but I insisted I wasn't going to do that. I didn't think it was a good idea. So he reached into my pocket real fucking swift like a real master thief, pulled out my phone, brought out the Pokemon Go app, and then showed her my top CP Pokemon. Now the problem with this is I've named all of my top CP Pokemon some variation of the word cum, such as Cum Duck for my Gold Duck, Cumcutioner for my 1619 Executioner. You know, he's a pretty fucking big boy. He means business. But yeah, all of my Pokemon are named some variation of word cum, except for one of my Pokemon, which I named something far grosser. I named him Smegma Saucer. And he shows her this without thinking at all. She sees it and is immediately disgusted with me. She even scoffed at me. And you could just feel the mood swing from a mile away. I'm sure the whole bar knew that something sinister had just unfolded. Some type of dark presence just came over this bar as she saw all of these Pokemon names. I could feel my urethra prolapsing like it was eating my penis. It was just such an uncomfortable situation to be in, and my friend just kept going on and on. Look at these Pokemon, can you believe this shit? Oh, he fucking caught these. It just on and on and on. And she'd had just about enough of it. She put her foot down. She tried to trooper it out. She gave a real valiant attempt, but he just kept going about these Pokemon. He was like the world's worst Energizer Bunny wingman. It was fucking ridiculous. So she walked away as he was still spouting out this shit about these Pokemon I caught. And my buddy just couldn't believe it. He was baffled. Can you believe this, Charlie? Dude, she just walked away. What is that about? And I was just beside myself. I was very upset about the situation. I don't even know why he came over there. We've never even talked about Pokemon Go together. We've played a few times, but we don't play that much anymore. So I don't know why he did that. He was plastered, so I'll give him that excuse. But it was just so ridiculous and unnecessary. But you know what? Looking back on it, you know, if she can't handle me when I'm naming my Pokemon cum, she doesn't deserve me when I'm not naming my Pokemon cum. Or at least that's how I'll sleep at night, I guess. But that's fine. It's alright. It was a learning experience. Now I know not to... I didn't learn shit from it. But, yeah, that's the story. And that's it. See ya. What? Wow. Fantastic start. Absolutely splendid shit. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I wanted to share another story with you guys today. I know I just told one yesterday, actually, but that actually happened last week. I made that video last week, and I only posted it yesterday. And the night after that happened, we went out again, and I had another unfortunate encounter, and another one that was just out of my control. It was my friend again, not the same guy, just another one of my friends, someone I thought I could trust, you know, someone that I thought I could give my Yu-Gi-Oh card collection to and expect to have it returned to me back in mint condition. I haven't fucking touched my Yu-Gi-Oh cards in years, but I feel like that's a pretty big display of trust. I'd let them walk around in my animal slippers, which is something I don't let a lot of people do, so, you know, I trusted this person, and it backfired yet again. And this is a tale I don't tell easily because I genuinely have been having some fucking PTSD flashbacks to this scenario. Every time I think about it, it's like a frag grenade goes off in my apartment, my vision gets blurry, everything seems like it's covered in smoke, my ears start ringing. You know that feeling where it sounds like Alpha 5 from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers having a thunderous orgasm in your ear? Yeah, every time I think about this, that's what happens to me. So this story starts the same as all of history's most influential and most memorable stories. I was taking a fat shit in my bathroom getting ready to go out with my friends. We were pre-gaming a little bit, not too hard because there's really no point to pre-game super hard to happy hours and other drink specials. So we finish this, I pinch off the grumpy, and I'm ready to rock and roll. We go to this different bar, not the same one from the night before. And this was around the time Hurricane Herbert or Hermione or whatever the fuck the name of that hurricane was hitting. So it was very moist out. There was a lot of moisture in the air. There was a little bit of rain, just some sprinkling, you know, just spitting out there. So people were fucking climbing over each other, World War Z style, trying to get into the bar. Pretty long line, but it wasn't too bad. And it wasn't raining really hard or anything like that. It was just kind of a nuisance. So when my friends and I got into the bar, we started going turbo immediately. We just went up to the bar and just started fucking slapping drinks hardcore and just getting absolutely obliterated. And while we were doing this, a girl that I kind of knew at the time came up because she saw us. She's like, you know what, I want to get in on that action. They're going hard in the paint. I'm about that life. I'm going to try and put anus to faces over here too, like these guys are. And this girl is absolutely gorgeous, probably one of the prettiest girls that I know. And it's not like we're super familiar with each other. We never exchanged numbers or hooked up or anything like that. But we had gotten fucked up at bars together in the past, so we knew each other a little bit. And this girl was going, and she was fucking ordering drinks faster than we were. She's like, come on, hold on a second, pussy tits. I'm getting 2 more. And just taking them both, bam, breaking shit on her fucking face. She wasn't doing that, but that would have been pretty cool too. But yeah, it was just fun. And after doing this for like an hour or 2 hours, however long it was, one of my friends, he was flopping around like a noodle. He was too drunk, so he went home because he lived pretty close. And then it was just me and my other friend, actually the same friend from my ceramic story, G. So it was me and G and this girl, and we were ready to leave. We were going to go back to my place, which is also walking distance from this bar, and we were just going to hang out for a bit. And since Hurricane Hermione was hitting in full force, shit, the rain was fucking coming in sideways. It felt like hail. It felt like we were just getting bullets shot at us, and it was kind of cool. And on this adventure back to my apartment, this 0.2 mile walk, the girl and I had made out, and things seemed to be going pretty well, you know? She seemed like she wanted to come back and stay over. And G was gonna sleep on my couch bed hybrid thing, because my couch pulls out into a bed, some Star Trek style shit. I know, real advanced technology. And because that's what he usually does when he gets too drunk, because his place is too far away to walk to. And he's done this many times in the past. So we get back to my place, and her and I are just waiting for G to go to sleep. We're just waiting for him to be like, alright, y'all, I'm tired. I'm peacing out. I'm gonna have some sweet dreams real quick. Night, night. And he wasn't doing it. He wasn't feeling it. This guy, he was in it for the long haul. He wanted to stay up till the sun was coming up. And eventually her and I were like, alright, we're getting tired. We're gonna call it a night. And G was like, alright, Charlie, take me home. And I was shell-shocked. I was like, excuse me, that has to be a joke. So I laughed in his face. I was like, oh, you really yanked my chain good there, partner. No, I'm not doing that. I'm definitely not taking you home. And he was adamant about this. He was not budging. This man had slept on my couch at least 10 times in the fucking past, even when I didn't even want him to or know he was sleeping on my couch. We would just be playing a fucking game and he'd be like, alright, Charlie, I'm going to sleep, and just crash on my couch all night. And then tonight, the one time I fucking needed him to crash on my couch, he was just not having it. He was driving a fucking hard bargain. And we just went back and forth. I was like, gee, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'd already sobered up because we'd been at my place for a while and I wasn't drunk anymore. So I could take him home if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. And the girl was just watching both of us going back and forth. It was like an Indian soap opera where it keeps zooming in on the girl as she's looking at the two people talking, you know what I mean? Real dramatic like. And I could see beads of sweat just dripping down her face. No, please, don't budge. Don't drive him home. She was very concerned that I wasn't going to plant my feet and was going to give in to this. And this was just a real-life example of that conundrum. What happens when an unstoppable force of sexually driven hormones meets an immovable object of reluctance to sleep on a couch? And unfortunately, I just gave in because he just kept going. He's like, you know what, fuck it, alright, I'll just walk home, it's not a big deal. But he'd be walking 3 miles through a really shitty part of town. It's akin to walking through a fucking minefield. And I just kept giving him every chance in the book. I was like, gee, come on, you've slept on that couch so many times, wouldn't it just be far more convenient if you did that? He's like, no, Charlie, no, I will not sleep on that fucking couch. That couch has poopy on it right now. I don't want to lay in poopy. Just on. And then I just kept saying, gee, look, please, I don't want to do this. I was fucking begging him, don't make me do this. And then eventually I just gave in. Yeah, I was like, fuck it, G, you win. I'll drive you home. And then I could see the girl was very disappointed and upset, and so was I. I had fucking tears in my eyes, and I was begging her, please, it'll only take me 25 minutes to do this. Just wait in my bed, just, nap for a little bit, please. Sorewa, machurizo, just wait. Just, everything. I was just trying it all. It was like a scene in all of those romantic movies, like the really sad scene where they're chasing each other through a garden. The dude or the girl is shouting the other person's name, and they just can't hear it, they just keep walking. She had already made her decision, she wasn't gonna wait. She was gonna just go back to her place. Since we live in the same apartment complex, she just walked right back to her apartment and went to bed. And then the entire ride, I was bringing G home. I was so fucking tight about it. I was just telling him, G, you know what you've done, right? Do you realize the implications? Do you realize what you have fucking done to me, G? And he in his defense, I don't think he knew what was going on, even though I pretty much blatantly told him to his face, like, please, this is what's going on. But he was pretty fucked up, so I'll give him that. And yeah, ever since then, I've just been tossing and turning in my sleep. Sometimes I'll have nightmares where I will be in the same situation again, except my entire apartment will go up in flames, and that's preferable to what actually happened. I would have rather my apartment just get fucking taken out by Hurricane Hermione at that point in time than have to have this memory, this very sour memory. But yeah, that's the back-to-back nights of unfortunate circumstances I had no control over. The double whammy, the double fisting, the double penetration, the double dare, the double disappointment. Yeah, and that's about it. So yeah, what's up everybody, it's Critical. This week I've been flooded with an unusual volume of emails pertaining to something I talked about in the past, and usually my emails consist of websites like Habbo Hotel telling me that my son has signed up for an account. I don't have a son. Daily Betty Crocker updates because some sick fuck out there signed me up for a Betty Crocker newsletter, but god damn it if some of those aren't some surprising meals from Betty Crocker, I'll give her that much. So I was a bit shocked this week when I looked past all of the strange newsletters and questions like if my ass was a dog, what would its name be and what breed, to see that I was getting questions about something I talked about in minimal detail a while back. So I figured I'd dive a bit deeper into this tale to give closure to those people that are asking for it. So it would have been about 2 years ago now, maybe a little more than 2 years ago. The story begins as all good tales do. The previous night I was out drinking heavily, and I woke up the next morning with a pretty bad hangover. And as one does when they're faced with a rough hangover and regret from spotty memories from the previous night where you're claiming you're Alexei Vanderwolf, famed bear wrestler from Russia, you get out of bed and you start masturbating to help get over the hangover. I don't understand why it works, but it does. It helps get over the hangover. So I began cleaning the clarinet and I was really in the zone. I threw on my favorite lesbian porn film. It's a threesome called Ménage à Trois. It's on Pornhub if any of you would like to watch it. I believe it's probably the best hangover cure out there right now. And I was really just enjoying it, and I wasn't even considering it a masturbatory task. It was just me, this beautiful video I was watching, and my cock in my hand. Also, as a side note, I like to watch the porn on my phone because you can double tap and zoom in so you can kind of be your own cameraman, and I like that aspect because sometimes the camera angles aren't great, so I like the double tap feature. It's not really pertinent to the story at all, but I just thought it's worth throwing in there. And as by the time the video started winding down, and it's a 30+ minute video, and this was an entire 30 minutes of me going at it pretty hard, I was beating my dick like it owed me money, and eventually my dick deployed its cream and my mission was complete. I ejaculated, in other words, or if I want to be more hip with lingo, I made cum. So I paused the video and I closed my eyes and thanked Jesus for what I had just watched on my screen. And then I turned off my phone and I went to clean up my cock, and my neck was stiff because I was holding it at eye level and I guess I just hadn't moved very much. I was like a fucking statue just looking at this thing. You probably could have mistaken me for a wax figure except for the rapid hand movement on my penis. And I very slowly looked down to begin the cleanup process, and I noticed my dick was extremely red. And it was also beginning to swell because my dick did not have this type of girth. It looked like my dick had been replaced with a head of cauliflower. The skin surrounding the pecker had it inflated so much so it was like someone was trying to make a fucking balloon animal out of it. I immediately was able to recognize that something had gone awry in this masturbatory process. I decided I didn't want to go get it seen right away because that's kind of an embarrassing thing to tell a doctor. Hey, look, I beat my meat so hard that now it looks like I've hurt myself. What do I do? So I decided to wait it out. I gave it like an hour to see if the swelling or the redness would go down, but it just continued to get worse. By the time I did go get it checked out, it looked like a fucking bowling ball down there. That's not really a good comparison though, because it wasn't like a fucking bowling ball. It didn't turn into a giant ball or anything. It still had like a penis shape, but since it was flaccid, there was more girth than length to it, and it was super swollen. It looked like you could have sucked helium out of it. But anyway, I went to a walk-in clinic because I wanted to get seen right away. And if any of you have been following me for a long time, you know that I'm very much a hypochondriac. That's not an exaggeration. I am genuinely a hypochondriac. So I was freaking out about this. I was worried they're going to have to cut my dick off or something like that. Now when I did get into the waiting room at the walk-in clinic and the nurse was asking me why I'm there and all this such, I wasn't embarrassed. I told them because there's no reason to be embarrassed. It's important to have shit like that checked out. And the nurse left and I was already 2 steps ahead of the doctor. I knew they were going to want to see my penis, so I already had my pants around my ankles basically. I didn't know if I was going to be seen by a male or female, and it didn't matter to me. If it was a female, I definitely wasn't going to be embarrassed, maybe even a little bit proud, because it looked like I was packing heat down there. Albeit probably not the color or shape she'd be used to because it was extremely red and inflamed, and it looked like a fucking UFO, or a soup dish turned over. Eventually the doctor comes in, he examines my wiener, and he immediately asks what happened, and I'm honest with him. I said, look doc, I had a hangover and I gave my chicken a hard choking this morning to try and get over it. And he said, well, it definitely doesn't look good. It looks like it's been injured. I mean, it definitely did look like that. I didn't need a doctor to tell me that. It looked like I'd been hit by a fucking sledgehammer. And he says if it continues to swell and it starts blocking urine, there'll have to be some surgery done on it because that's very dangerous, obviously. So I start freaking out. I'm already kissing my dick goodbye. I'm debating just walking down the wall in the office there and giving myself a blowjob just for one last ooh-rah to send my cock off in style. But he gives me these pills to help with inflammation, and obviously I start taking the pills to try and help with this problem. It was supposed to be taken every 6 hours, and I swear to God, not one fucking millisecond went over 6 hours before I was popping that next one. I wanted to get this problem rectified, so that way I could continue to rectify this wood down here. And it did help. It took about 3 or 4 days, and the swelling started to gradually go down, and I was still able to pee, and yeah, it had a happy ending, luckily. But let this be a lesson to all masturbators out there. You know who you are, all 7 billion of you. Be careful when you're masturbating down there. It's a very sensitive area. If you're not paying attention, you might just fuck up your dick or vagina. I don't know if that's possible. Maybe if you just rub your clitoris too hard, you can injure it and it can swell up and look like a head of broccoli like my dick did. But yeah, there's the story. That's it. There's a problem no one in the world is talking about at the moment. Victims that are being silenced and are too afraid to come forward. I believe by me coming forward and shedding light on this problem, it'll be the first domino to fall, causing the domino effect of dominoes falling because the first domino fell. Similar to how the sexual assault victims are coming forward in Hollywood to reveal what's going on over there, which is absolutely great, and I feel like this is on that same level of importance. And yes, I am comparing the inconvenience of the front row movie theater seats to being sexually assaulted. Those fucking front row seats sexually assault my fucking neck. My entire being gets raped every time I sit in the fucking front row of a movie theater because I arrived late and that's the only thing fucking left. The front row of a movie theater is the most poorly designed part of any building that has ever existed throughout all of history of time. I don't understand what the thought process was when putting that fucking front row in the movie theaters. It must have just been a joke that caught on because it's been standardized. Every single movie theater has its front row about one butterfly penis away from the screen, so you're looking up at it at a 90-degree angle. It's like simulating what a floor mat sees every fucking day. And you pay the same price for those seats as every other seat in the theater, which is significantly better. Every seat that's not in the front row is a much better seat. What they should do is make the front row cheaper or move it back. Either one makes sense. Either one makes a load of sense. Because the front row, as it is in these days, is genuinely awful and ruins the movie-going experience. I saw 2 movies in the front row in the last month because I arrived late, unfortunately. One of them had a reclining seat, the other did not. The one that did not was an absolute fucking torture device. That was a chore to get through. It was like being waterboarded by a mediocre movie on the screen. It was just so bad. It was such an unpleasant experience. The one I saw last night, which was Jumanji, and it had a reclining seat in the front row, was a little bit better because I was at least pretty much laying down looking up at it, but that distorted the entire fucking movie for me. Every person's face looked like they were melting. And every time there was a nighttime scene, I couldn't see what was going on. It was like closing my eyes. It was like a sensory deprivation tank at that point, except there was a lot of fucking sound, but I couldn't see at all what was going on at the screen at that angle. Go ahead and do this little experiment right now. Get on the floor, tilt your computer screen, your computer monitor up, and then see if you can make out what's going on the screen. You fucking can't. It's impossible. I don't understand why the front row is as it is these days. I don't know who did it, and I don't like them for it. I'm a firm believer in not judging a book by its cover, but if the book cover says I designed the front row movie theater seats, I'm gonna think that guy's a fucking asshole and I'm gonna hate him. It is just a genuinely unpleasant experience sitting in the front row. It's like one of the plagues of Egypt, being condemned to sitting in the front row for every movie you want to see for the rest of eternity. It is an absolute miserable experience in the front row of a movie theater. It makes you want to leave. Even if the movie's great, you're not enjoying it because you're battling with your fucking muscles tensing up from staring straight up into the sky. And then your eyes start hurting and feel like they're going to burst out of your skull because you're adjusting them so frequently to make out what shapes are on the screen, and you're squinting the whole time like you're looking up at the fucking sun. There is nothing redeeming about sitting in the front row. From now on, if all that's left is the front row, I'm just not going to see the movie that day. And I think that's probably what a lot of people do because I know no one likes the front row. I just can't imagine a community of people gathering together as front row movie theater seat enthusiasts. If there is a group of people like that, they must be the most masochistic fucks out there. Oh yes, I just love the front row of movie theaters. I can't get enough of it. Big fan. I also really enjoy my nipples being clamped on by crocodile teeth, and I love sleeping on a bed of used heroin needles. It's just dumb. The front row is fucking dumb, and I can't imagine anyone liking it. I really can't. There's nothing redeeming about it. You actually can't make out what's going on in the movie clearly. It ruins movies. It does. It absolutely does. Now, I've only ever been to like the big chain movie theaters. I haven't been to any mom and pop dine-ins where they give you like a hand job during the movie or anything like that, so I can only speak from experience with the front row and the mainstream ones, and they're all the same. They're all way too fucking close to the screen. I'm assuming there's probably some local theaters that have, come to terms with, no one's going to like this. Let's use some reasoning here. Let's move our front row back quite a bit so it doesn't ruin people's movie watching experience. But for now, all I'm familiar with is the mainstream theaters and their front row is abysmal and needs to be changed. Absolutely has to. If you're watching this mainstream movie theaters, change your fucking front row. Please. Hashtag front row, fuck no. Just a horrible experience. Fuck the front row. Just wanted to get this all out there. That's it. See ya. Nostalgia. It's fucking powerful. Like a Sears catalog to a boy going through puberty in the mid-90s. For those of you who don't know what nostalgia is, it's something that can only be experienced by 90s kids. Does anyone else 90s kids? Where you have a longing for something in the past. A feeling, a show, a game, etc., stuff like that. Most of the time you hear people talking about nostalgia, it's in reference to video games, cartoons, movies, or something, like Ocarina of Time, or Courage the Cowardly Dog, which is objectively the best cartoon that's ever been created, and if you have a different opinion than that, then I expect an apology from you for your incorrect taste. But the point is, I never really thought about nostalgia past these mediums of entertainment like cartoons, movies, and shit. I never thought I'd ever really want to look back on my past because, as I've talked about before, I've always really disliked myself, hated myself, always thought I was worthless, and I really never expected myself to want to look back. I always believed the sooner the Men in Black could deneuralize me, the better it'd be. This isn't me saying I had a shitty childhood or anything like that. No, I had a fucking great childhood. I have an amazing family and everything. I had a lot of great times, but at the same time I had a lot of bad times, and I never really thought I'd want to look back on any of that shit until pretty recently. When I was 11 years old, I bought a little handheld camcorder, a little cheap piece of shit, and I'd put it up on a little step stool, and I put 2 pillows under it so I got it the perfect height to record my TV while I played video games. And I'd record myself playing the games and talking occasionally, not very often. And the game I would play was Gears of War and sometimes Rainbow Six Vegas, and I recorded it and I posted it on the same YouTube channel I'm using today. And I was super proud of this, and I kept doing this for about a year before getting a capture card. Then the quality got upped, and I kept playing Gears of War, making montages and 1v1s and glitch videos and shit. I put a ton of work into it, then I got Sony Vegas, started editing it. So much work went into all of it, and I was so fucking proud of it. Kind of. Not super proud of it. Obviously not proud enough, because as I kept doing that, I got kind of tired of it, and then I started branching out, and then I did the commentary stuff. And then in 2010, Ray William Johnson featured one of the commentary videos I did for QWOP. And the second that happened, I immediately purged my channel of every video from my past because I was ashamed. I was very embarrassed. I didn't like what I made at that point. And objectively, it probably wasn't that great. So I got rid of all that shit, and I just, set fire to the Library of Alexandria, and I just never looked back. It wasn't just a few videos or anything. I made hundreds and hundreds of videos. I made a ton. And I didn't ever really think about it until about 3 years ago. I was thinking to myself that I'd really like to be able to look at those again and just be flooded with the memories of all the hard work I put into them, what I was experiencing at the time, and just kind of see where it all started. Now, that's not exactly accurate, because prior to getting the camcorder when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I used to make little videos on another old camcorder for Dragon Ball Z Budokai and shit, but I never had anywhere to post those because the internet was primitive back then, and all we had was the occasional still image of a titty that would load after dial-up connected after 30 minutes. I had nowhere to put any of those, so that's been gone and buried in the earth's soil somewhere. But the videos that I posted on here when I was 11 to 14, I would really like to see those, because from there is really where my passion for creating came from. And like I said before, I used to use creating videos as my form of escapism from the real world to distract myself from feeling invisible, and I'd really like to see those videos I made during that period. Now, the reason I'm making this, there's 2 reasons really. One, YouTube, can you please give me those fucking videos back? I know you've stored that shit somewhere. Facebook stores information from my fucking birth certificate to the last time I ejaculated, to exactly what second in the porn video I came. You have to have those videos somewhere. Don't fucking try and tell me they're permanently deleted. I know they're not. I'm not that stupid. And the second reason I'm making this is because I really regret deleting those videos. I don't have a lot of pictures of myself because I never wanted a lot of pictures of myself. I still don't really, honestly. I don't like pictures, but the point is I don't have a lot to look back on and remember, because I don't have those things. I don't have like a time capsule or anything, but those videos I could have looked back on and had all of those memories and, smiled about it. Oh, I remember this. Oh, that was cool. Oh, shit. Fuck all this cool shit. And a lot of people I know are probably in a similar boat. A lot of people have made things they're not proud of, whether it be an art piece, maybe even a video, could be anything. And you just don't want anyone to ever see it, and you never want to see it yourself. You just want to forget it exists because you think you're better off. But I argue it's very important to look back on the things that you're embarrassed about. It's very important to reflect on your past. At least that's just my view on it. Every now and then I'll go on a really hard nostalgia bender on YouTube because most of my formative years were spent on the internet, mainly watching game-related shit, game-related people. So when I go back and watch things like Gears of War montages and Halo 2 and 3 montages, like Walshy's Halo 2 montage, Furion and Fluxy's dual-tage in Halo 3, fucking Calamosity's Gears of War montage and shit, all of those things will remind me of what I was like when I first watched them, and it also shows you where you've come from and how you've grown, and really just gives you a nice perspective on things, on time, really. So yeah, just to wrap it all up and put the condom on this throbbing nostalgia boner, maybe don't jump the gun and delete things that you're embarrassed of now. Maybe just let it sit there so you always have the option to go back and look at it should you ever choose to. Maybe at some point you won't be embarrassed of it, and I think it's very important that you at least have the option of looking back on your past, and that's just my opinion on it. And YouTube, just give the fucking video files back. I know you have them somewhere in your fucking deep filing Area 51 servers and shit. There's somewhere out there, and I know that they're doing you no good. Just give them back to me. Let them come home safely. Stop. Just stop and give them to me. That's it. See ya. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I just got back from the gym and I had a pretty interesting experience. This isn't your standard tale of seeing an old man schlong or just some old dude flopping his wiener around in the locker room. Those are a dime a dozen. This is a true tale of discomfort. So I went to my apartment's little gym. It's pretty shitty. It has like 2 treadmills and a slab of concrete that you're supposed to use for everything else. And I only go there because it's so close by. There's no reason not to. So I'm going to the Iron Temple trying to get my pump on to pray to the creatine gods, way men. It was just me and this one dude and his girlfriend. The dude looked like the offspring of the Naked Brothers band lead singer in Popeye. He was fucking massive but was somehow shorter than me, which is extremely rare. His face also looked like he had just gotten out of middle school, but I'm sure he was around my age, like 23, 24. And he was bumping some really shitty music from a small 1990s boombox. The audio quality was just abysmal. It sounded like it was being transmitted via ham radio while underwater. I could barely make out some of this shit, but I could recognize some of the songs. Already this man has checked one pet peeve of mine, which is just playing music for everyone to hear. Why not just put on headphones? But regardless, he's just letting these flaccid jams blare, and he's singing along too, and he's dancing. He doesn't even care that I'm there. I don't even think he's registered my presence, even though I'm right in front of him. So I'm immediately uncomfortable before I've even started any of my sets. And this man's just fucking animal. He's going straight barbarian mode. He was on a cable machine that the gym has, and he was just like fucking throwing it forward. It was like he was doing, it wasn't even an exercise I'd seen before. It was like he was throwing footballs with both of his hands, like working on his passing technique. His girlfriend was doing squats. All the while he's doing this tribal rain dance, he's singing the song that's playing. I don't know what song it was, but the chorus he was singing goes, "Fuck me to sleep." So he was just singing that, just letting it howl. I don't know why you would sing that chorus out loud. It's a pretty shitty chorus, and it's a pretty stupid thing to be singing out loud, but whatever. This man's, he's letting it go. He's doing his thing. I respect that. He's fucking feeling himself. And I'm just trying not to laugh, because it was just so goofy to me seeing this meatball of a man just saying, "Fuck me to sleep." I didn't want to laugh because I didn't want to feel his wrath. He would probably fuck me up. He'd break me in half, I bet. He was super huge, and he was pumping some big weight. I'm not going to sell the dude short. But this was just one of many weird things he engaged in my 30-45 minutes in that gym today. He had a bunch of dumbbells thrown about everywhere that he was using for alternating bicep curl sets. He was also using the cable machine, the bench for bench pressing, the Smith machine, and then one other machine that I'm blanking on the name of. Literally every machine that the gym has, he was using. Fucking cartwheels on the treadmill, you name it, he was going to be using it. And whatever he wasn't using, his girlfriend was using. All I got was some 25-pound dumbbells I could shove up my asshole. So that kind of rubbed my cock the wrong way, but there's nothing I can do about it. I tried to work in with him. I asked if I could, and he just said no because his girlfriend was working in with him or something. That checks another one of my pet peeves, which is hogging everything even though you're not going to be using it at the time. But I wasn't going to fight him or anything. I'm not going to try and pick a fight with this human sloppy Joe. I'm just going to use my 25-pound dumbbells. Fuck it. I guess it's better than nothing. So I'm just doing my thing, you know, with my 25-pound dumbbells. And then this man goes and checks off another one of my pet peeves, which is flexing in the mirror and taking his shirt off. I absolutely hate when people do that at the gym where they start checking themselves out. This man's just fucking feeling his titties and flexing really hard in front of his girlfriend. And once again, I was trying not to laugh at him because his girlfriend was about 8 or 9 inches taller than him, looking down and pretending to be impressed by it. I could tell she didn't really care and just wanted to finish her workout and be done for the day. But I started to get used to his singing and the hogging of all the weights and his bizarre exercises he was doing. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had picked up the boombox and started playing volleyball with it to train their triceps. I'm starting to wind down my workout, and I could tell they were starting to be towards the end of theirs as well. And then they did something I've never seen before. It's that kind of shit that you only see on YouTube from like fitness couples that do some wacky, crazy shit. They gave it their best attempt and it didn't work. So the girl went down into like a pretzel position and the guy was doing like a reverse praying dog yoga pose. And then the girl rolled on top of the guy and he assumed a planking position, and then she just started doing some push-ups on his back, and meanwhile the dude's acting like an old fucking fitness DVD workout guy who's, come on, keep at it, you can do better, I expect more from you. What, you milk babies with those titties? I don't believe it, come on. And this girl's fucking sweating trying to do push-ups on his back and he's not happy with it. She was busting her ass for these push-ups, but he didn't think she was giving it her all. So then it was his turn to do this on her back. So she gets in a plank position and this man gets in his push-up position on her back and he starts fucking jackhammering her with push-ups, just fucking nailing him out, and this girl's just like fucking wobbling all over the place. It was like a Street Fighter Turbo ultimate finishing move. This man was trying to drive his girlfriend into the Earth's core. He was like a bodybuilding plunger and his girlfriend was the clogged toilet. The shit was brutal. Just absolutely brutalizing his poor girlfriend with these push-ups. I have no doubt that there was some lumbar issues afterwards. It was truly fantastic. An experience I really can't do justice with words. It's one of those things that if you saw it, it would be something you'd never forget. And I will definitely never forget that. I was pretty much done working out. 25 pounds isn't enough to get in a decent workout in any capacity. I was really just kind of killing time to watch them. I was just kind of a spectator for their show they were putting on. And then they pretty much wrapped up after that. They did like 1 or 2 more sets that were really boring and then they just kind of left. So then I left shortly after. But it was a fantastic experience and it made me really appreciate my apartment complex's gym. I'm going to try and sync up my workout schedule with theirs now and hope that they go there at this time usually, because I want to see some more of this shit. But yeah, that's it. So yeah. What's up everybody, it's Critical. There's just something I want to talk about right now, more venting than anything. So last night I was watching Les Mis with Hugh Jackman and Anne Hathaway. I mean, I wasn't watching the movie with them, but the movie has them in it and I was watching this movie with my girlfriend. And right towards the end of the movie, I started getting extremely intense chest pains that weren't subsiding. It was debilitating. I couldn't look down, moving certain ways made it worse. And I decided I needed to go to the hospital. I thought I was having a heart attack. I was thinking Les Mis was so fucking bad that it actually gave me a heart attack. So I went to the hospital and I got there around 11 o'clock, a little after 11 o'clock, and it was just absolute dog anus there. Absolutely horrendous. It was impossible to get seen. I would have had better luck meeting Robert De Niro in person and then having my dick jerked off by Jennifer Aniston. From the time of signing in and just saying why I was there, it was about an hour to getting the vitals and EKG done, and I can understand that because it's a hospital, they were busy. I can understand a little bit of a wait in that area, but I get there at 11 o'clock, a little after 11. The doctor didn't see me or any of the tests I did until 5:33 a.m. I'll go ahead and do the math for you so you don't have to. That is 6.5 hours of not being seen despite going to the emergency unit here. This is the fucking emergency unit. Luckily I wasn't having a heart attack, but if I was having a heart attack, I would have fucking dropped dead in their waiting room, and then it would have been about 2 hours for them to clean up the body. I just don't understand how that's acceptable. They weren't even filling me in like, oh, I'm sorry, we're just so busy right now, the doctors are overloaded with a whole lot of work. They weren't communicating anything. I was just left in this fucking waiting room, developing deep vein thrombosis, waiting for this shit. I'm surprised that isn't a goddamn epidemic at Tampa General, just people dropping dead from deep vein thrombosis waiting to be seen in the emergency room. It's fucking ridiculous. Tampa General Hospital's motto should be, if you're not dead by the time you get here, the wait will kill you. It's just so fucking unbelievable how long they will make you wait without relaying any information to you at all or checking in on you or anything at all. It's the emergency room. People go there for emergencies, mostly. Some people go there just because they don't know where else to go or what to do. But for the most part, it's for people that think they are in a very serious situation and want to be seen immediately to make sure it's not urgent, and to just have them sitting in the waiting room like a virgin waiting for marriage, it's just so fucking unbelievable to me that that is an acceptable thing. And that's the fucking emergency side of this hospital. I can hardly even imagine what anything else in this area would look like. Basically a fucking summer camp, because if you go there, you're not even going to be seen that day, I imagine. This must have been them fucking rushing it. Quick, it's been 6.5 hours, we're making record time, get him in here. It's just so fucking crazy to me. I can't even find the right words for it. Just sitting out there with this consistent chest pain for 6.5 hours thinking I'm having a heart attack. It's just scary. And it's just, it's unbelievable. Now, I've never been one to complain about wait times in any situations, because I get it. I understand. Things get very hectic, chaotic at the drop of a hat, and you can't always prepare for it. But to be so severely understaffed that you have patients waiting 6+ hours in the emergency side, it's just disgusting. I wasn't the only one waiting that long. Luckily, my chest pain, they didn't think it was cardiac. They thought it was more of a musculoskeletal issue, so hopefully it's nothing serious. But for someone who does go there and it's something more serious, like an appendicitis, they go there and present the symptoms, and then they make them sit in the waiting room for that amount of time, fucking decomposing, and then meanwhile their fucking appendix bursts, and then they're face down on your floor, your fucking blood-stained floor, because they don't clean up the floor. There's a bunch of blood on the floor, so they're face down on the floor. If they're not dead from that, then they've contracted some type of blood-borne illness. Really, if you're in an extreme situation here in Tampa and you need to get seen right away, going to the Tampa General Hospital is the worst thing you can do for yourself. You might as well write a letter to Santa and ask him to help you out. You would get the same response time from Santa as you would from Tampa General Hospital. The only good thing I can say about the facility is the staff is pretty friendly. That's it, really. In total, the time at the hospital last night was about 8.5, kind of close to 9 hours, not quite 9 hours. 6.5 hours to get seen by the doctor, get 10 minutes of talking with the doctor, then he goes and checks another thing for 2 hours. The shift changes, I get another doctor who has to go do the same procedure again, comes back, and then I got released. Overall, just absolutely disgusting how poorly run that facility is. I can't understand how they can be so understaffed. And I did talk to some of the staff there asking, what's going on, every 3 or 4 hours, I'd check in, what's going on? Did the fucking doctor get blown up in an explosion back there? What's going on? Fill me in. And they told me it's just Mondays. They say they get busy on Mondays. Well, fuck, if you know you're going to be busy on Mondays, why don't you have more people on site for Mondays then? Doesn't that make a little bit of sense? It doesn't even have to be qualified doctors and nurses. Have some fucking dogs carrying notes from the doctor out to the patients in the waiting room. Anything at all to let them know that you haven't forgot about them. So I'm going to stop ranting, but overall, a horrible experience at that hospital with the waiting. I would not recommend it if you need some urgent care. However, I would recommend Tampa General Hospital if you need a place to charge your phone. They have some phone charging stations, and they're pretty effective. Yeah, that's it. So yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I come before you today as a simple man with a problem with something that's common in the world today. Something I truly believe should be outlawed, and anyone who partakes in it should be punished to the fullest extent of barbarism, just straight up slaughtering and beating up anyone who happens to partake in this activity. I'm talking about one-ply toilet paper. Now I know this is low-hanging fruit, everyone hates one-ply toilet paper, but you know what, I want to toss my nutsack into the sausage fest as well. One-ply toilet paper haunts my boners. I hate it. Whenever I see one-ply toilet paper, my mood is immediately destroyed. It's the worst fucking thing ever. It's like watching a car accident with your entire family involved whenever you just see one-ply toilet paper in the fucking public restroom. I hate it. I'd rather clean the public toilet seats with my fucking tongue than use the one-ply toilet paper in there. It's awful. It's miserable. I don't get it. It's fucking horrible. I mean, I do understand why they use it. It's cheap to get, but still. Have some morals. It's unethical. Give me sandpaper. I'd enjoy that more. Give me fucking metal. Aluminum foil even. I don't care, but just don't give me one-ply toilet paper. That is the worst. Fuck. It's like using tracing paper on your asshole. No matter what, no matter how careful you are, no matter how many times you fold it over, that toilet paper is going to rip right in your chocolate starfish and you're going to finger your asshole. Without fail. Every single time. You're just in the public restroom and you have to shit. No one really likes to shit in the public restroom, but sometimes shit happens. And you go in there, You take the one-ply toilet paper, you're just having a nice little gentle rub on your asshole, all of a sudden it rips, next thing you know, your whole fist is in your anus. I fucking swear, one-ply toilet paper was one of the major curses of ancient Egypt. Excuse me, one of ancient Egypt's major plagues, the locusts, all that kind of shit. One-ply toilet paper must have been at least tossed around as a plague, but they deemed it too unethical and just decided to omit it from it. Even they understood just how bad it was. It is truly beyond words. It makes me hate whatever location is using it as well. I could absolutely love the place, love everything about it, but if I go to the bathroom and I see one-ply toilet paper, that shit's getting a 1-star on Yelp. If I hit rock bottom and actually had a Yelp account, yeah, I would give it a fucking 1-star just because of one-ply toilet paper. It's just not right. It's wrong. That's not how a business should be run. It makes you look bad. It is bad. You're bad for using it. Fuck one-ply toilet paper. And God forbid that toilet paper get even the slightest bit of moisture in it. That thing will just literally explode. It just fucking melts. It's like a marshmallow that gets fucking roasted over an open flame. That toilet paper just turns to mush in your hand. If you have diarrhea, God forbid you have diarrhea and have to use a public restroom and you see one-ply toilet paper, you might as well just start praying right now, because that is going to be your demise. That is your end right there. That combination is fatal. One-ply toilet paper with a diarrhea butthole? No. That's a recipe for disaster. The second you use that one-ply toilet paper on that dirty rectum, it's over. You've already lost. Your fate has been sealed. Satan has taken your soul out through your asshole. An even more unholy combination is not only having one-ply toilet paper in the public restroom, but also being subjected to a toilet where the water isn't high enough to cushion the blow of your shit, nor is it low enough to not feel the impact of your shit. So when you drop your steaming load, it hits the water and creates this massive splashback as if a fucking sumo wrestler cannonballed into a fucking pool and just goes right up into your ass crack. And then you're going to be forced to use that one-ply toilet paper to not only clean your ass but dry it off, and that's not going to work. That toilet paper is just going to fucking disintegrate once it touches that water. I believe it's time we start to act like we're in the 21st century and just get rid of one-ply toilet paper. It can't save that much money to just put another fucking layer of paper over top of that one-ply. I truly don't think it's going to be that much more of an expense to at least improve someone's shitting experience in your business. I just can't imagine a business going under because they invested in a little bit better toilet paper. CEO Harold, what happened to your multi-billion-dollar business? Well, I invested in 2-ply toilet paper. Say it ain't so. What were you thinking? So in conclusion, fuck one-ply toilet paper. It's time for change. It's time we start shining a spotlight on the important issues. It's time we demand better toilet paper. We're not cavemen. Cavemen probably had a better system for wiping their asshole. I'd rather use rocks like cavemen than use one-ply toilet paper. It's time we demand better toilet paper. That's it. Fuck one-ply toilet paper. See ya. For a while now, people have been asking me to talk about food and health-related shit, general advice or pro tips, life hacks, does anyone else, 90s kids, basically anything relating to this field of health and nutrition, working out and shit, because, as I've stated, I graduated with a degree in human sciences, more specifically exercise physiology. So I decided, instead of talking about this in my yearly answering major questions video I did not too long ago, I would make a whole video dedicated to it and tackle all the questions that I'm frequently asked in this area. So the first thing, there's no such thing as a superfood. Please stop emailing me asking me what superfoods I'd recommend. Oh, would you recommend the enhanced mulch with added fiber blend? No, superfoods don't exist, and I want you to tell yourself that every night before you go to bed after you brush your teeth. Look in the mirror and tell yourself superfoods aren't out there. It's like the boogeyman, it doesn't exist. Hey, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you it's not the tooth fairy that's going to be leaving kale dust under your pillow when you put a tooth there. It doesn't exist. There's obviously foods that are super good for you, but there's no food that's going to be this end-all be-all where you implement it into your diet and everything is honky-dory, you're losing weight, you're gaining muscle, and your dick's growing. It doesn't exist. That's just a marketing ploy to get you to buy some products that ordinarily you wouldn't even think about. And sometimes the products are actually really good for you, but they don't do all of these incredible things that they claim to have done or will do. And on that same topic, I'll go to the next subject. There's no such thing as a magic weight loss pill that's going to vaporize your fat, just blast your adipose into oblivion without you making any lifestyle changes at all. You can pop goat urine extract pills till the cows come home. It's not going to help your belly flatten if you're not making any lifestyle changes. And again, there are supplements that will aid in muscle growth or muscle repair or fat loss, but that also takes more than just taking those supplements. You have to do more than just that. Next, stop taking everything someone says as gospel as long as they're in really good shape. So if some yoked out, jacked monster manimal tells you, hey, I got this jacked because I sucked styrofoam out of urinals and look what happened, you should try it too, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. And there's a very good chance he never actually sucked any styrofoam at all in any point in his life. He may be the one selling the styrofoam, and you might be the one that's fallen for the scam. And really, it's less of a scam and more just blatant deceit. What I'm trying to say is, a lot of these fitness YouTubers and online bodybuilding instructor gurus, not all of them know what they're talking about. Half of them I see on YouTube can barely even speak English, and I don't mean that as in they have a primary language and English is just their secondary. No, English is their native tongue. They just suck dick at even speaking their own language. Their entire lexicon consists of nothing but lits and savages, and they just do different intonations on the same lit. Oh, you'll do 3 lits on this lit, and then take a 3-second lit. It's embarrassing to watch half of the fitness YouTubers on here. And a lot of these, secret things the government doesn't want you to know for muscle gain, these secret conspiracies that we're busting wide open here, smash that like button, it's just bullshit. And it's there just to make you click on it. And it makes sense because a lot of people, they're familiar with the same shit. They don't want to keep hearing the same routines, the same shit over and over again. So if they see something like ancient Mayan bodybuilding technique the science doesn't want you to know about, they'll click on it and they'll probably even give it a try no matter how dumb or dangerous it is, Let's say the ancient Mayan bodybuilding technique generic fitness YouTuber preaching about is you put your head in some sand for 2 days and 2 nights, and then when you take your head out of the sand, you're an Adonis. It's not going to work, but people will still try it because it's just something different. People don't want to keep hearing the same shit over and over again. They want a fast-track thing that, that's been overlooked. They want to just stumble upon this secret thing that no one's trying, and they want it to work. And 9 times out of 10, that shit doesn't work. The things you don't hear about, forgotten techniques, they're forgotten for a reason because they weren't effective. And then these people that want to drive some attention to their site or their channel or whatever, they'll pander to that drive that makes people want to find something that's faster, that's more efficient, that nobody knows about, and they'll just hop on board, click it, and give it a try. It won't work, and then they'll get discouraged. And then, they've already tried everything, and they feel like it's on them. I've tried everything people talk about, it doesn't work, and now I've tried this ancient Neptunian, Atlantean bodybuilding technique, and that didn't work either. It must just be me, and then they stop working out because they get discouraged, and it's sad. It's fucking sad. So please just stop listening to a lot of fitness YouTubers that don't really know what they're talking about. Do your own research. Don't just take somebody's word for it just because they're in good shape. Now let's move on to the most common question asked in anything regarding health and fitness. How do I lose fat? How do I get a flatter stomach? First thing you need to accept, you can't spot treat fat. You can't choose where on your body you lose fat from based on the exercise. For example, doing 1,000 sit-ups an hour, it's going to improve the strength of your abs. They're going to be a lot stronger, but it's not going to give you a six-pack if it's still buried under 10 layers of fat. You don't need to work out either if your only goal is losing weight, losing fat. That all boils down to your diet, 100%. Working out is just if you want to build muscle as well, and it'll also help with burning fat and such because the more muscle you have on your body, the easier it becomes to burn fat. I know that's not what you want to hear, and I'm sure you've been told the old calories in versus calories out a million times, but that genuinely is what it boils down to. Just controlling how much you eat. And you can overeat if you're compensating for it with exercise and working out. You're doing jumping jacks with soft nut sacks and you're just hitting it hard out there, going for gold, going fast and eating ass. Then yeah, you can definitely eat more than normal without gaining weight or fat because you've burned those calories. Now I'm going to branch off of this subject into 2 other really popular ones that I get asked about a lot. The first being, what should I eat in order to lose weight and such? What should I be looking for? What diet? Well, I don't really like to recommend diets because that implies that it should end at some point, where what you really should be looking for is a lifestyle change or an approach to how you eat, which should translate over a long course of time. Obviously, you can keep changing up how you eat. I constantly do depending on my goals, but a diet really implies like this ephemeral 1-hour change or something, and that's not effective. But that being said, I do recommend a ketogenic diet. And this kind of goes against what I just said. It's a bit contradictory because I only recommend the ketogenic diet until you reach your goal. And then I would switch into just eating with common sense. A ketogenic diet's one I talked about in the past. It's where you reduce carbs a lot and you increase your fat and protein intake. That's a ketogenic diet in a nutshell. It's extremely effective. There's tons of research on it, so I'd encourage all of you out there that are curious about it or even thinking about trying it to do your own research and see what you think. There's definitely a lot more reputable studies on ketogenic diet than a lot of other stupid ones that fitness YouTubers present. You know, like, oh, hey, I'm generic fitness YouTuber 19. Here's my diet recommendation. It's called the Coca Duty. Here's some research, and they link to like fucking mcdonalds.com/research. It's just, there's real studies on keto diets, and I do think they're very well conducted for the most part. Another one that I'd also recommend that's also extremely popular right now is intermittent fasting. That's where you eat for 8 hours, fast for 16 for the most part. Some people do other numbers, but you're fasting for the vast majority of the 24 hours, and you get all of your meals in a short period of time. The idea behind that is when you eat all of your meals close together, you give your body so much more time to digest it and focus on other processes like building muscle if you're trying to get muscular. It makes sense, and there are a lot of studies to corroborate its efficiency, so I'd also recommend that as well and to do your research on it. Now, these two are bad examples because I don't think these are things people could do for the rest of their lives, and I think what most people need is a lifelong change in the way they approach food. That's not something you'll get from diets. That's something you'll have to hunker down on and say, hey, look, if I want to achieve this and that, I'll have to eat like this and that. And it's not easy, I know. I'll share what helped me. I've talked about this in the past. I'm pretty sure I even brought this very same thing up, but I'll bring it up one more time because it's been a while. I used to be really overweight, and since I'm so short, I looked like a fucking sloppy Joe sandwich, an extra small sloppy Joe sandwich. If you got me on a plate when you ordered a sloppy Joe, you'd be really disappointed and your stomach wouldn't even be full. I was fat and I was short, so it wasn't a good combination at all. But eventually I realized, I eat like shit, but why? If I eat like shit or I eat healthy, it doesn't matter because 2 minutes after I finished eating, it's already gone. The happiness from eating is gone. It's just so temporary, what's the point? I might as well eat a little bit better if I want to be happier with the way I look. So that's a perspective that helped me out. Now going on to the next part of this topic is how to work out, and what to do to gain muscle and such. Well, I don't want to design a general workout plan for everyone out there or give a general workout routine or anything like that. But I will say you want as many compound lifts as possible. When I say compound lift, I'm talking things like the bench press, the deadlift, the squat, the big three. I'm sure all of you have heard of those before. They're very popular for a very good reason. They recruit a lot of muscles to complete the movement. They increase testosterone. It's what you want. That's what you're looking for. But if you don't really care about weightlifting, you don't have to do weightlifting to get muscular. Calisthenics is extremely effective. In fact, it's probably even better if you're only looking for an athletic physique. You'll probably get more tone and ripped off a calisthenic-focused exercise routine. Calisthenics are body weight. The calisthenics involve just using your body weight as the resistance instead of weight. So things like push-ups, and then when you get more advanced, do a push-up with your toy poodle on your back. When you get even more advanced, do a handstand push-up with your toy poodle resting on your nutsack while you're upside down. Things in that nature. And that really helps build a really toned and athletic physique, which is what a lot of people only care about. So calisthenics might be what you're looking for if that's your goal. Now, this was also very hard for me when I was overweight. It's very difficult to start and then get in the routine of motivating yourself to keep going, so I'll share with you my perspective on how I viewed this and what helped me. The time was going to pass regardless. Let's say I didn't want to spend an hour at the gym, but let's say I went and spent an hour to the gym and I fucking hated it. Well, that hour was going to pass no matter what I did, so at least I spent an hour helping me get to a point where I'm not disgusted every time I look in the mirror and want to fucking puke out of my penis hole. It really came to this conclusion where, time's going to pass. No matter what I do, I might as well spend a little bit of that time getting me to a point where I'll be happier 3 months from now with how I look. That's kind of what helped me. Kind of in the same way I viewed food, it's no matter what, you're going to forget how much fun that shitty meal was. No matter what, the time's going to pass, even if you spend it doing something fun, like jerking off while playing a video game and watching hentai. But I could also spend that time or that meal doing something that would help me be happier down the line. Since no matter what I did, whether I was having fun or not having fun, it wouldn't matter, because time was going to pass regardless. So that's how I viewed it, and that's what helped me. Maybe that'll help you, maybe it won't. These are the main things I get asked in emails about this subject, so I figured I'd tackle all of them in one big video here. So hopefully this helped, and hopefully it answered all of those questions. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. See ya. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. About 2 months ago, I mentioned in a video that I had OCD when I was growing up and throughout my teenage years, most of my teenage years. And since then, I've been getting a lot of emails and questions in general about how I was able to get rid of it or at least keep it under control. So I wanted to talk about that. So this is for anyone out there that has obsessive compulsive disorder, and I hope I can help you out a little bit. So my universe got ass blasted when I was around 12 years old. I started having these routines that I needed to follow, or else I just didn't feel right. And then eventually these routines evolved into these rituals that I absolutely had to follow and could not break. And they were very weird rituals. I mentioned one of them in that video 2 months ago, but there was at least 100 different rituals. I had to sleep in a certain position on my bed. I couldn't even go to sleep unless I put on the movie National Treasure every fucking night. So I had that movie run every night for 2 years, and I'd just fall asleep during it. And God forbid if that CD ever got scratched, I just wasn't sleeping that night. I also had to make certain facial expressions when I was watching porn. This isn't a joke. And it had to be the same porn video. I watched the same porn video for I don't know how many fucking years. And I had these set times in that porn video where I had to make a certain expression or else I just couldn't jerk off. I'd have to take a 5-minute break and just let myself recuperate before I could go back at it. It was a horrible time, really. I mean, I'm kind of laughing at it now, but then it was horrible and I was miserable. At first I thought it was normal behavior. I thought to myself, well, I'm sure every young man out there is making fucking Regis Philbin facial expressions like he's on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire every time they're trying to choke the chicken, so I didn't think anything of it. But after a while I started to think, this really can't be normal. I don't want to live in a world where there's a bunch of people doing these stupid rituals that I'm doing. So I googled it and narrowed it down to 2 possible ailments, the first being obsessive compulsive disorder, and the second a faulty wireless router. I thought I could confidently scratch off the latter, so I was left with OCD. Then I had this debate with myself if I should go see a professional about it, a therapist, because I was almost 100% sure it was OCD. All the pieces just fell into place like a jigsaw puzzle of anus. But then I thought, they're probably going to prescribe me medication, and I didn't have a lot of faith in the medication a therapist would have prescribed me because I thought, one, the medication would either perpetuate the illness further and I would have to keep going back to them to get more drugs that would cost my family a lot of money and it wouldn't even solve the problem, and I definitely didn't want to do that. Or 2, would make it worse because I had read that shit sometimes makes it worse, and I definitely didn't want to take that chance. I don't even know how it could have gotten worse. I guess it would have just had to follow like a specific set of steps every single day and never deviate from these specific walking patterns. I have no idea how it could have fucking gotten worse, but I didn't want to take either of those chances. So I thought it would be best for everyone if I just tried to figure it out by myself. Now, I was really good at hiding it. None of my friends knew I had OCD. No one knew I had OCD outside of my family, and even my family really didn't know the extent of it. They only knew some very small bits and pieces of it. And I feel like a lot of people with OCD are really good at hiding it, so you would never know if somebody actually has it. And that means that they don't ask for help, and I didn't either. But looking back on it, it really probably would have been beneficial if I involved some people in helping me get over this. But I didn't, and I eventually did figure out a plan that got it under control and pretty much got rid of it. So I looked at it in a big scale. I knew I was in control of my actions. I knew I was the one doing these rituals. I was making this conscious decision to do these things, and I was in control of that, nobody else. So I knew I couldn't just break these rituals, get rid of them all at once. I had to go in small steps in order to do this. So I started to break them down into smaller rituals. I started to break them down piece by piece, making them just a tiny bit shorter than they were, or eliminating some very tiny things. And the first one I really targeted was one I had with eating. I had to eat a meal at an exact time every day. I had to eat each meal at an exact time, and you started to make bargains with myself. I would eat this meal a little bit sooner or this meal a little bit later, and that was the first thing I really went after, because that was something very small that I could control every time. So I started to change the meal times up, and once I started to get those more flexible, I was eating meals 30 minutes sooner or whenever I felt like, then I started to go for the bigger ones and make those a little bit shorter. Instead of sleeping in a specific position on my bed, I would move over a little bit, or I would do this, or I would do that, stuff like that. The National Treasure one I had already gotten over because the DVD actually did break, thankfully. So after 2 years of being hostage to Nicolas Cage's acting in that movie, despite it being a pretty decent movie, I was finally free of that one. So that was before really I knew I had OCD. But with the sleeping habits, I managed to just convince myself to sleep in different positions, different sides of the bed. And I just started making these little changes to my rituals, and eventually I made the changes bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually I could convince myself to just not do the ritual at all. The ritual is so short and consisted of so little things. What's the point in even doing the ritual? And I was able to do that. I was able to just not do the rituals, and now I don't do any of it anymore. Now, there are still a few remnants of my OCD that I just cannot seem to get rid of. For instance, my YouTube profile picture has been the same negative 50p image for the last 7 years, and I just cannot, no matter what, convince myself to change it because I feel it would just cause such a discomfort to me. And a few other little things that are still reminding me of OCD are still there because of OCD. But for the most part, it is completely gone. I don't struggle with it anymore. I'm not miserable because of it anymore, or miserable in general. And I know how hard it is to ask for help, especially if you have embarrassing rituals, but it's really, that's the best piece of advice I can offer you, is to ask somebody for help in breaking the rituals. For instance, I would have loved if I asked somebody to make sure I don't do this specific component of a ritual or something like that and make sure I stick to it. That would have definitely made it easier, and I probably would have gotten over it a lot sooner. Overall, I just hope me talking about the subject and sharing my experience with OCD and how I got over it helps somebody out there come up with a plan, or inspires them to ask somebody for help in getting past it and getting rid of it, or keeping it under control, or something along those lines. So hopefully this helps somebody out there. And yeah, that's it. See ya. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. Over the last 4 or 5 years, there's a question that's constantly popped up that I keep forgetting to bring up in my yearly answering questions video, so I figured I might as well make a whole video about it today. A lot of you might not remember, but about 4 or 5 years ago, I was involved in a car accident, and then a lady faked an injury and sued me for it, and it was just a really shitty period for me. And I made a video after the whole lawsuit and everything was finished and done with, but I still get asked a lot to go into more detail about what happened, so I figured fuck it, why not? It's kind of an interesting story. So I was on my way home from my figure drawing art class, and I'm pretty shitty at art, and drawing nude models was just incredibly difficult. They'd strike the most bizarre poses like the inquisitive masturbator or the YMCA, and I'd do my best to doodle them, but it always came out looking like something out of a 3-year-old sketchbook. It basically just looked like you were looking at bacteria under a microscope. But regardless of my artistic ineptitude, it's irrelevant. So I was driving home from that class, and it's just an ordinary commute and bumping some boner jams, and then all of a sudden, the car in front of me slams on their brakes, and I had absolutely no time to react. So I rear-ended that car, and then that car rear-ended the car in front of them. Now, it wasn't a high-speed impact. At most, I was going 25, but I didn't have time to slam on my brakes because I was driving a little too close to them, so that was like a full 25 in the anus. And luckily, no one was hurt in the accident. But I turn off the boner jams and I go check on the passengers in both cars, and I swear I couldn't have gotten in an accident with 2 worse groups of people in those cars. The car that I rear-ended was driven by a nurse who was also the babysitter of the 2 kids in the car whom she was bringing to their families, and the kid in the front seat, the front passenger seat, had a fucking artificial sternum and set of ribs. So when she told me that, I just figured the kid wasn't gonna make it, even though I don't think he was injured. Maybe the airbag clipped him and just destroyed the poor guy. But he was fine. The kid in the back seat was on like an oxygen tank or something, or I don't know what he had back there. He had some type of Star Trek contraption that was keeping him afloat. So I just thought they were both gone for. The lady was totally fine, and turns out the kids were both fine, but I was fucking panicked once I heard all of this information and saw when I looked in the car. And then the car they rear-ended was driven by a mid-90s woman transporting her 74-year-old son to a doctor's appointment to check on the condition of his fucked up leg. And when I went up to this car to check if they were alright, I thought it was just driven by 2 statues. They didn't even react. They were confused as to why I was up there. I don't even think they knew they were in an accident until all the dust settled, and then they realized their car was kind of damaged. When I saw them, though, I thought it was game over. I thought there was no way they survived this. It looked like a rogue tumbleweed could take them out. Turns out they were totally fine, and more so just annoyed that they were going to be late to the doctor's appointment. So luckily, everyone was 100% fine. The only one who even sustained any type of injury was me, and it was from when I went to check on the car in front of me. It was covered in broken glass that I didn't see, and I just cut the shit out of my hand on it. So the police show up, the paramedics show up, they give everyone the okay, a clean bill of health, no one needs to go to the hospitals or anything, they can all just go home, everyone's fine. But unfortunately, the car that I rear-ended must have been made out of fucking tissue paper because that shit just crumbled. The entire rear end of that was just in shambles. My car had absolutely no damage to it, and that's not an exaggeration. There wasn't even a scratch on my car. I guess I just rear-ended a block of styrofoam. But anyway, so everyone's fine, everyone's safe. We all go our separate ways. And then about a week later, the woman driving the car with the two glass children issues a lawsuit. She's suing me and my family, stating that she suffered severe neck injuries as a result of the accident, which is just bullshit, and we tried to fight it, but there really wasn't much we could do, because she went to one of the most corrupt doctors in Tampa, who was well known for performing fake surgeries on ambulance chasers. So she goes to this bogus doctor, and over the course of a year, gets a bunch of injections of Dorito dust into her, and then gets her tits polished or something. Then after about a year, she got a settlement from my insurance company for a very mediocre sum of money, and I imagine at most she probably pocketed about $5,000, so I don't know if it was really worth her time and effort, but whatever. All power to you, you fucking asshole. So yeah, that's the whole story about what happened there. Luckily everyone was alright, even the girl who faked the injury. I'm glad she was safe, although she's a big old piece of shit. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.